This is going to be 24 lessons that I learned in 2024. This year was crazy with a lot of traveling, hitting some of the lowest points I've ever experienced, coming back up and bouncing back, living in a different country for a month, visiting my ancestors' homeland, and spending 10 days with strangers that I never met before. Turning my personal training into a fully freelance business model. Just a lot of changes happened this year, externally and internally. So this has just been a completely transformative year for me, with a lot of intentional time to myself, to work on myself, just really looking at myself, my life, and life in general in a very raw and honest way. I wanted to share 24 lessons that I learned in 2024. So coming in at number 1 is let go of the need for control. We're just floating down the river of life. You just gotta enjoy the flow and stop trying to swim against the current, because that's not doing anything for you and is virtually pointless, and you're just wasting energy for no reason. Stop wasting your time trying to predict what direction the wind might blow tomorrow, when you can just be enjoying the ride today and deal with things as they come. Because no matter how much you try to control and you try to predict, it's all out of our hands. That's a beautiful thing. So breathe through the flow. Number 2, this is a huge one for me this year. Stop being afraid to be seen. You would have started a lot earlier if you weren't worried about how people may misperceive you. And the only reason you're worried about people misperceiving you is because of your craving for validation. You wouldn't have such a big craving if you just validated yourself and addressed your lack of self-acceptance or self-judgment that you may be putting on yourself. Nobody cares. If they do, who gives a fuck? It doesn't affect you what somebody else thinks about you unless you let it affect you. And at the end of the day, it's only affecting you because you, in some way, shape, or form, feel the same way about yourself. If you're scared of people judging you, it's really because you are judging yourself. Or you don't like what people will see, which means you don't like yourself, which means you have to work on self-acceptance. Number 3, never operate from fear. Change is scary and fear-inducing chemically, but without change, everything stays the same. So if you want to see change in some area, you're going to have to deal with that feeling of fear. That's what naturally occurs, and you're going to have to do things anyway. So do things while you're scared to do them, and trust in your ability to navigate and breathe through the fear that you may experience. Number 4, curate an environment for success. Life doesn't always have to be a constant struggle, girl. When things aren't aligning, remove them, or remove yourself. This goes for environments, people, food, media. If there's an option to take the initial contemplation, question, or struggle out of the picture, why wouldn't you do it? Even though part of you might still want whatever it is still around, do it for your higher self because she deserves better and you know it. Number 5, take calculated risks. Jump off that tower knowing that you're attached to that bungee rope. Live in a different country for a month knowing that you planned and saved up for it in advance. Teach a new class while ensuring that you prepared and educated yourself prior to. Putting yourself in any way, shape, or form into something new always holds some type of risk. As long as you're taking the risk with the right intentions behind it, it'll only teach you what you're needing to be taught. Number 6, trust your inner guide. We all have an inner voice inside of ourselves that tells us what we truthfully need to hear at any given moment. All we need to do is be silent enough to hear it and trust it. Number 7, existing in the gray area brings peace. Polarity and extremes bring one-sided closed-mindedness. There's truth to every side of the story, whether you see it or not. And you are not in the position to tell someone that their experience or opinion is not valid because you're not an all-knowing being. You can, on the other hand, pick and choose who you'd like to exchange energy with, and that's that. Number 8, it's easy to fall into bad habits, but it's just as easy to pick yourself back up. You just need the right tools to help you out. If you are needing some type of tool to help you get back on track with your daily routine, check out the free wellness habit tracker that I created specifically because I was experiencing the lowest point of my life and needed some type of way to pick me up. And just this little simple external tool of tracking my habits really turned my life around in just a month. I saw so much difference. So don't underestimate how you can bounce back and try different things out to help you out along the way. Number 9, the time that you put into positive self-talk and mindset shifting pays off, and you see it every single day, and you're proud of your past self for putting that work in. So put that work in. Number 10, you should always be learning something new. The ability to learn is the most valuable skill out there, so always make sure you're in the process of learning something new regardless of what point of your journey you're in. Number 12, give thanks and appreciation to all the things that made it possible for you to be here right now. Whether it's your ancestors, the elements, nature, the divine, your parents, the mistakes you've made, the lessons you've learned. All of it has brought you to where you are right now, so take time to really genuinely give thanks to these things as often as you can. Number 13, this kind of goes back to the other one. Having some sort of external accountability mechanism can go a lot farther than you expect, especially when you're dealing with depressive symptoms and can't rely on your own accountability. So whether that's planners, trackers, social support, coaches, mentors, trainers, groups, clubs, whatever it is, you name it, there are ways you can have external accountability that can help you get out of the slumps you may be experiencing. Number 15, everything comes with sacrifices. Traveling for weeks at a time brings so much joy, fun, and experience, but at the same time, you're also sacrificing your consistency within your daily routines and habits, and that has an effect on you. It's like spinning plates. There's only so many plates you can balance at a time before one has to give and fall and smash for another one to come and spin. So be mindful of where and what sacrifices are taking place, because there are always sacrifices happening, whether you realize it or not. Number 16, be the observer, be the witness, be the watcher. As if you're watching your life unfold in front of you in a third person point of view, and nothing can really genuinely affect you since you're just the watcher. Knowing that the next episode will come regardless of how this episode unfolds, and that it'll all be okay because it's all temporary and fleeting anyway. Number 17, you can and you do withstand and move through a lot harder things than you would expect. So don't underestimate your strength and resilience. And it's important to give yourself a hug, a pat on the back, and appreciation for all the things that you've been through and survived this far. Number 18, always treat yourself like you would treat your own daughter or just somebody that you love. Before you talk to yourself, before you say anything to yourself, before you eat, before you do anything in general, think about what you would want for somebody that you truly love deeply and genuinely, and act on that. Number 19, continue to show up as the most authentically truthful version of yourself. Appealing to the masses is overrated and useless if it means stifling and suppressing your inner essence and being. Nothing is worth it if it was some type of facade that won the prize. Number 20, keep reminding yourself. Every day, remind, repeat, because that's the only way to keep it moving forward and progressing. It's only when you think that you've reminded yourself enough and stop putting in the effort that you begin to forget. Melting into the illusions of the clouded mind results in being a victim of your instant gratification, moods, and reactions. Training your mind every day is just like training your muscles at the gym. Repetition and progressive overload, or applying pressure over time, is the key to your evolution. 21. If you randomly feel like shit and can't figure out why, check your recent screen time. You're welcome. Number 22. Feeling inspired and feeling jealous are two sides to the same coin. There's a thin line that you're walking between the two sides, so just be aware of your inspiration turning into something you don't want it to turn into. Number 23, be present, smell the flowers, pay attention to the little details, but simultaneously, don't forget about the bigger picture. Don't get stuck too long staring at one flower to the point where you miss out on all the beautiful, more colorful flowers along the path. Basically, appreciating the little strokes of the painting while not getting too obsessed that you don't look at the bigger picture, with one stroke of paint distracting you from the greater, grander masterpiece. On the other hand, not getting so obsessed with the final masterpiece that you don't give appreciation and gratitude towards all the little strokes that it took to create such a great painting. And number 24, one of the biggest things that keeps coming up for me this year is everything always comes back to the coexistence of opposing ideas, concepts, and thoughts, and the duality of the extremes on either side of the spectrum being equally valid and important, and finding the middle ground and balance is the key. One of the biggest examples being the existence of the individual self with the illusion of separation, and simultaneously the ultimate truth of oneness and unity. Be aware, Take deep breaths. Live mindfully. You are loved. I am you. You are me. Enjoy your 2025 and keep being you.